We all wear masks, and the time comes when we cannot remove them without removing some of our own skin.
Wake up.
In my most recent video, I discussed the unique fears younger people of today are harboring. The fears that come with living entirely in the digital age. For most of us that fall into this particular age bracket, we may only have vague, fleeting memories of a world that wasn't entirely ruled by the internet.
For the PlayStation 2, the best entertainment system to hit the world. It's going to be great.
I want to talk about escapism, the temporary relief from the unpleasantries of the world through distraction, often via entertainment or imagination. Neither are inherently bad, and you're not a bad person for using whatever means to escape daily life. In moderation, a little escapism is probably good for you. As the internet has taken over the world, so too have new opportunities and methods for escaping. Social media has people in a vice grip. Everyone wants to show off the highlight reels of their lives. This has had an effect on younger people, many developing skewed perceptions of reality, wondering why their lives aren't quite as glamorous as everyone else's. Everyone hams it up just a little bit for the people they're connected with. This phenomenon is not exclusive to online activity, however. Every single day, regardless of who it may be for, we choose to present ourselves differently. Who you are, say, around your parents or grandparents is not exactly who you are around your friends. Who you are around anyone is very rarely who you are when alone. This is called self-presentation theory, or the act of altering your behavior in order to influence or change how people perceive you. And don't take this the wrong way, you aren't fake for doing so. Most times this behavior is entirely subconscious. This theory holds up online too, as mentioned earlier, when people post only their greatest hits. And why should you not? What's the sense in showing your struggles, your vulnerabilities, your weaknesses? What differs online, of course, is the veil of anonymity. You may present yourself however you like, without any real physical repercussions. And so, we are presented with an easily accessible form of escapism via the internet, where we are allowed to present ourselves in any way we please, with no one being any the wiser about who you truly are. A vast landscape in which you, essentially, can play God. A monument of storytelling from a period of the internet's infancy, Serial Experiments Lain warns of the dangers of being chronically online. Lain is quiet and reserved. She socializes with a few girls from her class, but will rarely be the one to initiate conversation. God is here. Lain receives an email with those words from a girl who died just a week prior. She only gave up her body, the girl claims. She is still alive in The Wired, and God is there. The Wired, of course, being this show's version of the internet. Lain decides to get into computers, and asks her dad for a new, more powerful machine. Like I said, she's quiet and reserved, and has been shown only as such throughout the show. So a few episodes later, who is this? Well, this is Lain. At least, this is Lain and how she presents herself online. Her alternate persona. Her mask. Serial Experiments Lain is about a lot of things. There are secret conspiracies and organizations, questions regarding the meaning of our existence, strong themes of mental illness, and a touch of the supernatural. If you're looking for the meaning of this series, well, I'm not sure I'm your guy. I'd say give it a watch yourself and see what you get from it. In my opinion, however, above all, Lain examines what can happen when people are handed a new world in which they can be absolutely anything. We spend the entirety of the series watching this little girl wrestle with her own nature. diving into such depths that the lines between the real world and the wired become not just blurred, but obliterated altogether. We cannot remove our masks without shedding some of our skin, and Lain, well, she loses hers almost completely. This isn't a hobby. This isn't just getting away for a little while. This is escapism in its purest form. Lain has not just made a habit of distracting herself from the world around her, but has instead replaced that world entirely. She has lost herself in the wired. The quiet girl, shy and soft-spoken, now wrestling with the version of herself, stomping through the futuristic dance floor of Siberia. The version of the god of the wired. Now remember, escapism is not inherently bad, at least in moderation. It is when, like Lain, that these fantasy worlds begin to override the world in which you physically live, that a problem arises. And with the booming integration of technology within schools and the workplace, there comes a time when escaping the internet becomes difficult. The opportunity to lose yourself within the vast unknown is a door, constantly staring you in the face.
ワイヤードはあくまでも情報を伝達し、コミュニケーションするための空間、リアルワールドと混同してはいけない。
It may not be quite as dramatic as becoming God, but real issues of identity can arise when you're juggling too many personalities at once, wearing too many masks to track. There is also another kind of divide within personality both online and in the real world. Lain shows us what can happen when we, ourselves, create entirely new lives and lose the ability to differentiate between them and our real selves. What happens then when your personality is no longer in your own hands? When another you is created online, but not by you. Satoshi Kon was masterful in his portrayal of dissociation across works like Paranoia Agent, Paprika, and most of all, Perfect Blue. Mima was an idol, beloved for singing and dancing in a group, but is now changing career paths in order to move into acting. It's a common shift, actually. We see it all the time with big musicians turning into big movie stars. But Mima is sort of lacking confidence. Leaving the security of something from which you're known and venturing out to begin anew is scary. It can feel like starting over or a brand new you. Her first acting gig is, let's say, less than PG, involving Mima in some pretty risque situations. If you know anything about idols, then it's clear why something of this nature is out of her comfort zone. The squeaky clean image that defined her prior career is now being thrown to the wayside. Mima is struggling in her transition. We've all experienced something like a loss of confidence. It's natural. But I assume what very few of us have experienced is this lacking faith in self while being someone under the public eye of fame. There's a quote I like quite a bit from The Weeknd, during the early years of his career when he was wrestling with his new star status. When asked about what had changed in his life and in his relationship with fans, he responded only with,
"You belong to them, not the other way around. They choose your fate, and that's the truth."
When you enter that strange world of fame, you lose autonomous control of your own image. Now combine that with an already fragile self-image, and what you get is Mima. One day a website appears describing the daily life of the ex-pop idol. She finds it amusing, cute even, until she realizes that these diary-like entries are far too accurate to just be coming from some random fan. Someone is watching her, posing as her, becoming her. For the rest of the film, we watch as Mima loses her grasp on reality. She begins to imagine another version of herself, one which never gave up on her idol career. Is that Mima? Or is she the rookie actress on the silver screen? Is she the Mima behind the Mima's Room blog? Looking at her reflection, she can only mutter the words, "Who are you?" All of her struggle eventually comes to a climax when, later in the movie, we find out just which Mima she is. No spoilers today, though. The digital age has opened the door to endless opportunities for escapism, for multiple personalities to all have their days in the sun. It's interesting to look back on works like Lain and Perfect Blue, both of which having originally premiered over 25 years ago, and see how accurately they depicted the internet's effects on personality. I think we all know people who represent themselves differently in person than they do online. Again, escaping reality by hiding out in online spaces isn't an entirely bad thing. I'm not telling you to log off and throw your computer in the trash, rather, I'm trying to relay the dangers of the internet as portrayed in the two works mentioned. If you would allow me, I would like to interject for just a moment, and speak a bit to the relevance of these works as time continues to march forward. I'm going to make what might be a bold claim, and you can feel free to comment your thoughts below, but here it is. The internet, as portrayed in these works, especially in the case of Lain, is dying. Throughout Serial Experiments Lain, the internet is portrayed as this vast, unknown world where anything and everything is possible. It's mysterious, ripe for exploration, viewed as a new plane for souls to wander, separate from our mortal realm. At every intersection, a door to some new possibility lies straight ahead. In recent years, to me at least, it seems the internet has turned into little more than interactive television, the major domains all being owned by some massive corporations, advertisements burrowing into your subconscious as you doom scroll your favorite social media. It's all algorithmic. Google hardly feels like a resource anymore, shoving sponsored results down your throat anytime you look for the answer to a question. It all feels very regulated recently, like organic human interaction is being lost even here, after years of hearing how we young people can no longer interact with one another in person. In the case of something like Perfect Blue, would a sort of blog fool anyone anymore? As things currently stand, most celebrities don't even personally run their socials. One questionable tweet or Instagram post, and I think just about everyone would come to the same conclusion, that they've likely been hacked. It makes me wonder just how long works like these will continue to hold their relevance. And who knows, I might just be pessimistic about the state of the internet. Anyway, I'd love to hear your thoughts on what was discussed in this video. If you have any online vices with which you spend a little more time than you'd like. If you disagree with me that the internet as it was is slowly dying, let me know why. And as always, please subscribe. Not only does it help the channel out, but it also makes me happy. Maybe that's my form of internet escapism. Anyway, I hope to see you again real soon. Bye.